Hi everybody, this is Flash Tribesman back again with another playthrough of Suzerain. I just can't stay away from this game, it's such a good game. And so somehow I'm going to find a way to fit it in. I'm not sure how, but I'm going to try it because I love it. Third playthrough, we got arrested in the first one, committed suicide in the second one, so let's say we go with the third one. Alright, I'm not sure how I'm going to play it yet. I don't know about that, but we'll see. You are my enslavement and my freedom, you are my flesh burning like a raw summer night, you are my country. Nazim Hikmet Ran. Ooh. "1908, the Kingdom of Sordland. You open your eyes to the world you came from." We've done this one we haven't done. We've done... Now, I've done these two. This start got me locked up for about 10 years, and this one ended up blowing my own brains out. So we're going to go with this one. A wealthy city from Lockhaven. Your parents named you Anton. As the only child of a successful businessman, you have the chance to grow up in a wealthy family. Life was easy at first, and you had the best education money could afford. However, things inside the Rayne family changed due to the absence of your father. This affected your mother and you negatively. Yeah, but why was he absent, I wonder? The years passed. 1923. During history class at school, the bell started to ring unexpectedly. You hear a loud commotion outside. As everyone tried to figure out what was going on, the principal announced the historic revolution. The kingdom was no more. The Republic of Sordland was born. You do not fully understand. You are happy you had the day off, you some worried. Let's go. I don't understand. After graduating, you passed the university exam with high marks. The opportunity to choose between several studies. You chose law at Old Sword, history at Dyer. Let's go with economics at Lockhaven. During the first year, you attend a lecture with David Wishy. He's a well-known diplomat from the Foreign Ministry and a son of the President. After observing the hall in silence, he explained why a market economy is better than the option of Sordland. He argued for a system where prices for goods and services are determined by the open market. You question what you were being taught. Yes, question it. That's what he says. Soldiers entered the campus in the evening ahead of the first election. Many were in shock as the uniformed men created a security cordon and started arresting the teachers. A group of students started to gather in protest along with your best friend Peter Vector, and you decide to protest with the students to avoid confrontation. Let's protest, see what happens. One of the officers made a loud announcement that echoed throughout the campus. General Adair declared martial law in order to restore the administration. Please stand back and disperse to your rooms. You join the students and slowly march towards a large group of soldiers. Suddenly the soldiers charged. This ain't going to end well. A student fell and was trampled as everybody started running away. You held your ground. The soldiers beat you relentlessly. It was a gloomy year. The majority of this October the 10th, 1927. Majority of students and teachers displayed opposition. Thus Lockhaven became a target for the military regime. You didn't stay idle. You decided to join a human rights group, a student council, political debate group. Which one to go for? Let's go with this one. It will have some effect on our character at some point. I'm not sure what though. The council will focus on increasing student involvement in the campus along with partaking in the budget. Being from an economic background, a sensible thing. Although active participation, you gain budget management and leadership skills. In one of the meetings, Peter introduced you to one of his friends, Monica, who was a volunteer for the Soldierly for Women. You were immediately attracted to her intelligence, her beauty, her diligence. Let's go with her beauty. Go on. Let's be vain. Political charge environment led you to the Red Youth Socialists, the Young Sword Nationalists. Stay away from political organisation. Now, normally I go this route, but if I go this route, that's going to lead us down towards the communists. If that route's going to lead towards the nationalists. This is In the past 2 runs, I've ended up being quite a centrist reformer. In the past 2 runs, I'm tempted to try and go something a bit different. Let's go join the Young Sword National. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Join the Young Swords, all that. I normally go that way, and that normally I find leads me to a particular way. I don't personally feel inclined by either one of these. This is why it suits a live stream. This really does. But I don't do live streams because work commitments and what have you. But anyway, that's a different conversation entirely. Don't know. Because having played this twice, I know what happens with this player, and it's kind of, I don't want to get dragged into it. Let's think. Let's go with Young Sword, see what happens. The radio relayed that the communist General Rickard surrounded Luderen and his troops, demanding their surrender. They refused, and heavy fighting broke out across the country. You couldn't believe it. The army was fighting amongst themselves. Sordland plunged into chaos. Luderen's sudden attack caused even more bloodshed in the country. He seemed different compared to fascist Luderen. In your opinion, however, he was more of the same. You participated in a post-march. You were chanting one nation, one system, one people. Yeah, that one. We'll go with that. You were marching against Rickard. The student soldiers supporting the coup gathered a few hundred metres away. Many socialists were among them. You knew something was going to happen. You must stay. Massive clash between the two sides. Soldiers began to beat students. Tanks rolled forward, and at a chaotic moment, you saw a young girl about to get run over by a tank. We're going to run and save her. You couldn't reach her in time. You never forgot her face. The clashes escalated in a full-blown civil war. The horrors made you isolate yourself for a while. Monica helped you cope, but the love grew between you. However, it was a difficult time for love. The chaos must end. The charismatic Colonel Tarquin orchestrated a sudden coup and brought an end to the chaos. He wrote a new constitution and restored stability. The people saw him as a saviour. He formed the United Sordland Party and ran as a presidential candidate in the first ever elections. Either I voted or did not vote. I didn't vote. The SP won the election by a large majority. After graduation, you kept seeing Monica and noticed her interest to marry. However, a letter arrived from the military calling to fulfill your compulsory service. It was time for national duty. Okay. The devastating civil war broke out in your neighbouring country of Welland. The distinguished Major ISAF Lancier ordered you to lead your squad to a border patrol mission. It's a cold winter night, and you began marching out of the gunman outpost. You could see your breath. Several hours of marching through the snow hills. Distant noises were heard. Visibility was too low to confirm the source. Your squad called forward in formation and found a spot to observe. A group of refugees had made it beyond the border fence. You escort them back or let them slip through. Escort them back. Let's be hardline. The refugees were in despair when they realised they were being taken back to the border. Screams and protests ensued as they were restrained. You delivered them to the border guards. After several months of military service, your duties ended and you went back to civilian life. Your Monica decided to share your life together after receiving the blessing of her parents. A ceremony was held in Hulsort. During the same year, you were offered a high-paying job at the governing United Sordland Party. It's important to start your career on a good foot, so you accepted it. Working for the party was easy to pass to power. Yeah, let's go that one. We want power, baby. You became economics assistant to one of the most experienced members of the assembly. You worked long and hard, stayed late at work, and investigated hundreds of pages of economic reports. You were climbing the ladder. Sol strengthened the Republic by removing the institutions and symbols of the former kingdom from society. Things were looking up for the country as a massive economic boom continued. People were the happiest they had been in a decade. The election came and it was decided. Tarquin Sol was elected once again. The new 5-year plan and subsequent work regarding Finances put you under a lot of pressure, but your significant contribution to the economic strategy triggered an invitation to meet Darknessel himself, who offered you a key position. You were to become the youngest member of the assembly. You accepted right away. Yeah, let's accept it right away. As the youngest MP, it was difficult to connect with the influential inner circle. You needed allies, so you brought Peter in. So you brought Peter as your right-hand man. The birth of your son, Frank, provided a brief moment of joy and relief. Sacrifice family to improve your position in the party. I always go the opposite. We'll go this one this time. Just like your father once did to you, you prioritised work of a family. Along with Peter, you accomplished great things in the party. At home, Monica and Frank felt your absence. Meanwhile, President Rayne increased his authority over the years. His growing ego was starting to cause strife within the party. The cracks began to show. This could come back and bite me. Darknessel barely secured a majority in the election against the opposition leader. Over the past year, people were growing discontent with the corruption and the worsening quality of life. Meanwhile, calls for the United Sordland Party Congress became loud as a leadership struggle started to brew. Let's keep supporting the president, just for a change. Normally go the other way. Contender for party leadership was Ewald Alfonso, a reformist and talented business magnate. With a growing popularity within the party, you were trying to secure votes for President Rayne, who noticed your loyalty and promised you with a lucrative deal. You had a meeting with him. The President offered you a position of Minister of the Economy, Commerce and Energy in the next government if you backed him in the upcoming vote. Let's accept it. Normally I'd regret it, so I'm trying to do everything that opposite to what I did in the last two run-throughs. So this time I will accept it to see what happens. The party congress was nothing short of impressive. The banner of the United Sordland was decorating every possible spot. Thousands of influential political figures, lobbyists and benefactors gathered for this turning point. The voting for the party leadership began. I'm going to vote for him. I'm just going to vote for the guy. The efforts bore fruit as the contentious leadership vote was won by Ewald Alfonso. I think this happens anyway. I don't think there's anything you can do to stop this. During the Congress, Salt announced his retirement from politics. He knew the structure he established was here to stay. The country had been increasing authoritarian. You didn't care who was in charge. Let's go troubled. A month later, your daughter was born. Monica named her Diana. She motivated you during a tumultuous period in the party. The general elections were approaching. The United Sordland Party was under the official new leadership of Ewald Alfonso. You joined the party again. I wonder if we gone this route, it'll put his. I'm thinking if this will affect our relationship with the old guard going forward. Having played, so if I go that, it'll get us in with the reformers. But if I go that, it won't. Let's not help him. Let's just kind of not do anything. During the elections, the main opposition leader was involved in a sex scandal, with the secretary diminishing their chances. The extensive privatisation programme proposed by Ewald Alfonso secured election victory for the USP. I'm just going to got the USP because that's a right mouthful. Next year's, you did your best in order to make Sordland a better place. Tried the necessary to climb the ladder. Yeah, I'll do that one. Let's keep with the whole plan to success. The presidency of Ewald Alfonso saw many bold reforms, which was followed by a serious economic recession. The other parties announced their bids for the 1950 election, but the unfair system hampered all opposition efforts to renew. Thought the party could not survive another recession. You worried about the economic. Let's start that again. You thought your party could not survive another crisis. You were worried about the economic recession. You worried your reputation would be tarnished alongside Alfonso. Being an economic background, I want to go that one. Together with Peter, your presidency USP grew and you became a new face of the new wing in the party. You respectively took over leadership as President Alfonso lost control of the country. The moment to make your move had come. You blamed Alfonso for the crisis on television. Let's drive us in a circle. Most of the innocent abandoned him. President Alfonso started to reshuffle his cabinet, but it was too late. The party eventually voted you in as leader after your efforts. Following this, your announcement that you would be running for president in the general election with Peter as your running mate. It's your turn. After visiting every city and town during the campaign, you made a speech on state television. You promised to... Ooh, now I normally do this, but I might do that. I'm still going to do that. Because I failed to get it done twice, and I'm a bit of a mission to get it done. I've kind of contradicted my choices throughout this entire period just here, but anyway. The people are tired of empty promises. We need to feel fundamental change in our institutions and government. A solid, transparent democracy waits as brothers and sisters. A new constitution and new age is upon us. The broadcast ended. On election day, millions went out to cast their votes. It was time to face the truth. I wonder if it's actually possible to actually lose at the prologue. I don't think it's not, because that just sets your character up. But I wonder if it's actually possible to lose. That would be quite funny if it was. Okay, ooh, let's have a bit of fun. Hairstyle. They're not very inspiring, are they? Swordish fedora, yeah, we'll go with that. Facial hair. I'm not impressed with the beard choices, really. That's more like it. We'll have some of that. Should be a bit longer down there, like, you know, but hey, well, attire. I kind of that fits in with the fedora. Accessories, black glasses. Expensive car. Just Volkswagen pipe, unknown. That just looks meant. I don't know, it just looks awful. I'm going to go with that one. And background, tan, gold, green, red, turquoise. I don't think this makes any difference at all, but well, let's do it. Right, let me just get another drink. Sorry about that. I could have just paused the video and cut it out, but it's far too complicated. Right, what we're doing economy wise. Right, tonight's drink is... It's a New England IPA, which is a collaboration between Brewdog and Cloudwater, which is 6.8%, and it is a nice big can, and it's blinking lovely. Regulars to this channel will know I do like Brewdog. Look at how much I've got shares. Only little ones. They did a big share release a public share release to anybody that wanted to get involved with it. So I think I got about £50 worth, UK pounds worth, and I get like 10% off in Brewdog bars, which is a couple in central Manchester where I live, and they're fantastic. And I've just built it on with the floor. I'm just going to pour it out to kind of miss me mug. Oh well. Alright. Enough of my inept beer pouring. Okay, what we're going to go for? Planned. Can be based on a planned doctrine since formation until present. Yeah, Bobby, if I want to be different, I'd go that one, but I still want to do that because that's the hardest one to get in. Global variety tends for capital occasion in the West. This time I go neither. This time I'm going to go with the West. I'm going to head towards. I don't know. I've done that. Normally I go neither, but I've gone neither. But in this run, I don't know. I'm probably thinking the West. If I'd pick a roof, I'd go that like that. But no, let's go with the West. Yeah, if your line's closer to 1, immigration. In recent years, bloody shreds of Agnolian immigrants have flocked to Sordland due to the lax immigration laws enacted by Edward Alfonso. Let's keep it relaxed for the time being. I'm wrestling with that though. The obvious one is that keep neither, but I think that's the best thing to keep us alive, I think. Could take steps to line. No, let's split it down the middle. Let's try and stay in the middle of everybody, I think. Right. People expect to resolve negative solutions within this topic, providing overall improvement related policies. Let's go with law enforcement. Yes, no, let's do military actually. Are you sure? Yes, I am. Right. Let's try and keep that healthy and green. 2 weeks have passed since we won the election. Now as I'm about to be sworn as the 4th President of Sordland. Thousands watched the inauguration ceremony and cheered my name, President Rayne. The die was cast. Right, here we go. In the distance, the Moon Palace stood on top of the famous Hill of Pride. I had no way of knowing what the future waited me. Looked at my family, my sons of Frank and Donna were next to Monica, my wife. Her eyes were glimmering with pride. I then turned to the key people who made it all possible. Of course, each individual was promised an important position in my cabinet. As my thoughts slowly faded away, the reality of the situation dawned on me as also Hawker, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, was waiting for me. He is the big bad guy of the old guard. I need to be careful. I don't put spoilers in this. Time for the Earth has come. Let's start. Please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear. I do solemnly swear. I do solemnly swear that I will respect the executive and I will respectfully execute the office of the President of Sordland. And to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend. Yep. And to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the people and Constitution of Sordland, Republic of Sordland. You may now deliver your inauguration speech, Mr. President. Blimey, I've left my teeth out today. I never go with the third option, so I'm going to go a bit more like that. My fellow swords. The crowd looked eager to listen to me. Change and hope. You, the people have chosen together, will bring prosperity and reform to our nation. This is time of hope, this is time of change. Our capabilities. Our work is no less productive than a decade ago. Our capable minds are no less inventive. Our products and services are no less requested than they were last week, last month, or last year. Let's go after the Constitution. First, we must rewrite our broken Constitution from 1929. It is time for united, powerful Sordland once again. Hundreds of thousands of cheers were shouting my name in unison. I felt the responsibility, power, and burden all at the same time. Raise my fist. Enjoy the moment. Let's just bask in the pleasure. I took a long look at the people of Sordland to burn this moment into my memory. One of the presidential cars came by to notify that it was time to leave. I made my way to the leading car in the motorcade. The presidential state car was a jetback Cadler with flags of Sordland above the front headlights. Next to it, a man was holding the door. Good old Serge. We like Serge. Hello, Mr. President. Similar to the effects of the speech I made, hearing my new title made me smile. If you allow me to introduce myself, I'm Serge, your new driver. Nice to meet you, Serge. It's a pleasure. The pleasure is all but mine. The respective badges but opened the car door and gesturing inside, I entered the car. We will be heading towards the palace. The motorcade began to move on the way. Serge proceeded to explain his duties as a driver. As minutes passed by, I found myself lost in thoughts again, barely paying attention to what he was saying. He suddenly made a gesture towards the nucleus of the palace. Isn't it a beauty, the Marine Palace? It's where the government is. Let's have a look. Let's turn on when the kingdom. Let me start there. The Moon Palace is where the executive branch of the Sordland government is situated. It was constructed to serve as a summer resident of Albrecht Rayne, who quickly became a structure of political importance. The turning point was when the Kingdom of Sordland was announced from the balcony of the palace, reflecting the shift of government power from Erloy to Holsword. Yeah. He was right. Sunlight glinted off the palace's many maroon-coloured domes. It was so bright I had to look away. Every time I look at it, I'm reminded of my duties to this nation. It's just a building surge. Yeah, we all owe a great debt to the men who led this country from here. Their service will not be forgotten. The guard drove past the majestic gates, continued up to the entrance and stopped in front of the gates. I want to be nasty to this guy like Serge. Serge got out of the car and opened the door for me. Have a great day, Mr. President. Amorgna Westcora. He referred to the famous Swedish phrase at the time from times of revolution, Amorgna Westcora Vectern Distar. Meant morning will come, victory is close. Yeah. Replied back. I made my way upstairs. Through the extravagant corridors of the palace, marble and engraved wooden furnishes decorated the interior. My footsteps echoed in the colossal halls. The guards bowed their heads in respect as I opened the massive doors to my new office. Okay. Let's go and read over all about everybody. Congratulations. Great victory with close cooperation between the countries, single concessions for Agland in case of a promising trade deal. He also congratulated Sordist democracies for successful elections and warned us about the threat of Arcasia's growing influence in Eastern Macopia. These are the communists. Congratulations on our elections. Praise our party's stance on transparent elections. He signals his wish to continue trade partnership with our countries as equal partners as opposed to early trade deals gave us an unfair advantage. Lundberg, we'll all get to know and love Lundberg later. Smolek sends his congratulations on the electoral victory. Yeah, normal kind of, wants to normalise relations. Bonkers country. And then, congratulations from Lesbia. Congratulations for the result and spoke about his hopes to have a beneficial partnership in the future. Sent his best wishes to all his people. And warned us about the threats of encroaching Melenievist influencing United Canton from the east. Melenievist. There we go. So it's taking me like 2 and a bit months to get through. Right, let's have a brief overview of everything. Communist. The two big players are United Cantano, which are kind of over there somewhere, and these are Vagland, they're like puppet / allies, and then there's Lesbia, which is democracy, and Acacia, the big Western superpower, is that kind of over here somewhere, I think. And so Lesbia is a big Western ally country in the region, and they're the big communist. Rumberg are just bonkers, but we'll get to see them later. And there's us. This is well and where we had our border experience. Excuse me. When we marched those refugees back over the border. Again, we'll get to know that lot soon. Not soon, but we'll do at some point if we live that long. Agnolia, yeah. Remember this place, Helgiport. Helgiport. Well, yeah, it's another place we will get to know very well. Anyway, right, no more spoilers, promise. Right, let's have a look up here. Low production. Okay, so we've got alarming loads of productivity is rubbish basically. If you want me to spend more time reading these, because I'm just going to briefly look at it, summarise if I can do it, then move on. If you want me to spend more time reading them, then just say in the comments. Mayor of Avery, Nick Eric Neal, lack of adequate infrastructure means nobody wants to invest in there. Yeah, so basically, lack of investment. This is the interesting one. 10% of the company's total expenditure is absorbed in logistics. So basically, the logistics are rubbish. Finally, Port of Lacaven, where we're from. latest marine traffic report shows the Port of Lockhaven is no longer the busiest system in Macopia. Falling to third position. While this is a negative indicator for administration, Lockhaven still has potential to shine again as a major trading centre. The Port of Lockhaven is the largest port in Sordland and holds enormous importance in the economy, particularly as a main distribution centre linking the capital to the parts of Sordland. The major port city will hopefully support possible economic upturn in the entire country if investment projects succeed. I appear to have forgotten how to talk today. Right, anything else we've got to read? Right. Read the news, because the news is always useful. Again, I'm not going to read this in great detail, because otherwise it will take us about 3 hours to get through one episode. But I'll skim it, and if you want me to read them in full, or you want me to stay over these bit longer so you can read them again, let me know in the comments. Just tell us how we spoke of hope and change. New president, won 37% of the vote. Kasara Kibana, the National Front Party, won up over the general vote. The FP didn't concede until the last minute. Okay, this guy, far right. Yeah, this guy's far right, kind of extreme. These are fascists, that lot are. Franz Rector is the leader of the opposition from the People's Freedom and Justice Party, the PFJP. Led of right wing, 11%. Okay, yep, they failed to get past this threshold. We'll learn more about Blue Idiot later in the game. Another USP president. If you play this game, if the radical ever says anything nice about you, you're in real trouble, because this is the clue's in the name, really. Unless you're playing a communist, the clue is in the name. The voice of the unheard. Yeah, it's yeah. They don't like us, and it's like I say, if they do say something nice about you, you're in a spot of bother, unless you're playing as a communist. Restructure the infrastructure. This is kind of like these two. This gives you a good indication of how the economics is going, and this gives you a good idea of how the regional politics is going. After the recent successful mega infrastructure projects in United Container and Vagsland, the world is warmed to the idea of as it's a source of growth and employment. Indicates infrastructure investment can be fruitful in the short term, but even more so in the long term, especially if they focus on linking economic nodes that business logistics depend on. This is important. The first step, the crux of the matter, is diversification of investment. Where the government supports employment and growth, it is key to help private business with government contracts, tax breaks and political support in order to create a self-sufficient dynamic economy. The government's role in Sordland should be to integrate to the world economy and reap the benefits of global trade. Economic growth and income inequality in this country won't be fixed otherwise. Okay? End of Solonomics. This is about the free trade or planned economy, free market or planned economy. You have a consultant from the NBC have released a comprehensive report on the performance of the last 20 years. A certain section of the report stands the last 2 4-year plans of the planned doctrine created a budget deficit and a clear reduction in industrial output. A conclusion that the recession was not actually caused by him, put by state executives messing about, basically. Right, so they don't like the planned doctrine. Again, if I'm going over too quickly, you want to read them, or if you want to hold the file on these a bit, just let me know and I can stay on a bit longer. Right, where were we? That's the news. Let's go see what our first meeting's about. Right, read the logistics report. Mev also reports rising population and fast urban expansion have resulted in high levels of congestion in city traffic. Logistics report underlines increased traffic and slow transportation routes as the biggest problems in the capital. Basically, the infrastructure's crap. Summarise that one. Is the easiest one to get out of that. The General Staff convened right after election to congratulate our victory. All branches of the Sordland Armed Forces were presented in a meeting that took place at Camp Strongarm. Chief of Armed Forces Vaclan Kruger made a public press statement highlighting increased chances of military confrontation in Eastern Macopia and thanked us for the promise to strengthen and support the military. Briefing the current political situation. Peter Victor arrived a couple of minutes early and sat across from me. He was struggling to hold back his smile. We did it, Anton. We won finally. That bribe and backstabbing, it's all paid off. Peter's eyes sparkled. The strain of the past few months had put a damper on his usual rakish charm, but today he was looking and acting more like his old self. He loosened his tie and undid the top two buttons of his shirt. Enjoying the new sector I picked out for you. Thought you'd appreciate her gorgeous set of talents. It's a shame the rest of your staff aren't as easy on the eyes. He gestured a slight paunch that protruded over his waistband. Hey, back in university, did you ever imagine we could be sitting here in the Marine Palace? We have to celebrate this great victory. Let's celebrate. I've got my hands on something special for us, an Allori Maroon 30. Yeah, let's have a drink. An expensive bottle of whiskey and poured it 2 glasses and I prepared. The exquisite smell filled the room immediately. In the 1924, that was my freshman year, also the year after the revolution. Very difficult times, to be honest. This smells like heaven. The screen 1924 is tasting this moment. Toast. I raised my glass and tasted with Peter, but smelling the whiskey and taking a sip. The sweet vanilla tone combined with a low-key taste developed a lingering smokiness. Peter really seemed to be enjoying himself. What a taste. This is how we should start all our meetings, Anton. Oh yeah. We could, but maybe we shouldn't. We wouldn't get much done. Remember the last administration. Yeah, but we are different. All they did was enjoy the privilege. I think it won't be the case. We can't make this mistake. Makes again. We've learned from it all. This is difficult. I've not had this conversation before. We sure did. The door swung open, loosing Gallade. Our chief strategist walked in. He was a compact man with sharp, bird-like features. That's the man there. After briefly surveying the room from wall to wall, he sat down, poured a glass of water, and opened his briefcase with a quick, graceful movements. Gentlemen, a tall case clock in the room struck 3 o'clock. Peter Recton, damn you, right, exactly on time. Hello, Peter. Listen, turned towards me. He bowed slightly. He very slightly bowed his head. Let's not waste any time. Proceed with the overview. I normally say pleasantries are my students, but now we're going to get straight into it this time. As you wish, sir. He spoke in soft, clipped tones that immediately drew our attention towards what he had to say. Peter and I waited for him to proceed. Let's start evaluating our current situation. The majority of Sordland people demand change. They are more concerned about the economy than the constitution, but they blame the system for their problems. People are losing their trust in our democracy. Why do you think that radicals like Bernard Circus are becoming more popular? Everyone's expecting us to bring the change. The last government did not. I keep pressing the buttons too quickly. Don't look at this until I've read that. Friends Rector, leader of reformists, believe that true change can only accomplished by transferring some of our powers to the Assembly. I will move into the details of their demand shortly. I agree with the reformists. Our responsibility is to democratise our broken system. We need to listen to the people if we want to save this country. If we lose power, we won't be able to execute the changes. We need to make sure. Yeah, let's go with that. It may create issues for us, yes. With the reformers getting more popularity, we may not be able to stand against them. Yep. Mr. Rector managed to persuade many members of the Assembly to give their support to drafting a new constitution. Reformist politicians are quickly increasing in number. While the reformist wing of our party is still a minority, they could have tripartisan as a majority in the Assembly, especially if they unite under Friends Rector. The USB reformists aren't wrong to agree that we need change, but we should be in charge of the change. Mr. Rector could be a potential ally in our goal to maintain majority in the Assembly. Yeah, let's go with that one. Let's explore some more details. He's definitely key in this. Reformist demands are clear. They want to limit the President's veto powers, ensure the Supreme Court is independent, and take away the Court's right to vote on constitutional amendments. Support the reformists, but we need proper balance in the power in this country. We must listen to their demands, otherwise we are no different to the previous administration. Yes, let's listen to them. I agree, we can't ignore the wings of change after all. The old guard were doing their best to preserve the Constitution. Chief Justice Hawker and his allied judges have great influence over the Supreme Court, which will be tough to break. The Court also has the final say of the constitutional legislation. Without their approval, we can't even change it. Yeah, we're going to have to sue the Court. I've not broken them in the last 2 runs. We're going to do it this time, though. I agree, they have too much power over soldier politics. We need to take away their vote in constitutional legislation. It is absurd that they get to vote for bills when they aren't even elected. I completely agree. No, we can't underestimate it. We can figure it out. Our party still has 130 out of 256 in Assembly. We've got the power. But how many am I? Old God now. However, to reform the Constitution, we must receive 2/3 of majority in the GNA, because that's a mouthful as well, which is 166 votes, and a simple majority in the Supreme Court, which equates to 6 votes. After we have settled on how to proceed, we need to talk to with our party figures. Our first goal is to get 150 signatures to start the process. Following the green light from the USP, we'll reach out to the other party lead to see if they would back our draft. The last step is to convince the justice of the court. The entire process will take a long time, but we must start working on a reform committee to evaluate all possibilities for a new constitution as soon as possible. We want a more democratic constitution with reformers. The constitution should give the President a wide-ranging power to lead Sordland. That would give us more dictatorial, but if I was in the face of that, I'm going to go with that one. Let's work with the reformers. That's what we've got. That's what we've been proud for internally. Don't forget the promise is what got us elected. The key thing here will be strengthening the power of the Assembly, which we already have leader with a majority. Peter nodded in agreement. Yes, the division of power will need to be rebalanced for a better Sordland. According to the initial draft we made with the reformists, there are 2 changes to the Constitution that are not open for discussion. The Supreme Court will no longer vote on constitutional amendments. I completely agree. Second, the President's absolute veto will be taken away. This can be replaced with a limited veto system by fixing court loopholes. Yeah, I've got no problem with it. We'll reform a reform committee together with all the parties, start reaching out to all stakeholders in the Assembly and the court for a new constitution. By later in the year, we should have an idea of the reform contents and what the other parties want. Another important point we must be aware of. We must be aware of the Lothberg Group and the oligarchs convened under this organisation to influence economic policies. Conrath led it for a long time before falling ill. The new leader is Mr. Walter Tusk. According to reports, some members of the National Business Council, we're going to call that the NBC for short because that is another mouthful, are in their pockets. Tusk and the group will surely try to bribe us in exchange for special economic protections. I want to work with them anyway. The new administration will be able to talk to businessmen. I won't be bored. I'll enter dialogue with them eventually. We need to be diplomatic. We won't let this privileged, greedy, snobby capitalist run the country. Let's go with that one. See what happens there. Let's not underestimate their influence. These are not harmless people either. As far as I know, Marcel Conranti has some strong ties to this group. His influence could definitely be an asset for us, but I'm sure he'll want something in return. I'm aware of Mr. Conranti's wide network. This could come in handy. The group's influence is an important force, one that we should use to our administrative advantage. The group is too dependent on our economic policies. They can't move a finger without us. Let's go with that one. I wouldn't be so optimistic. The capital they represent could do a lot of damage if it was diverted. We need to tread carefully on all sides with all power players to survive our term. I need to underline the seriousness of the situation. Our election campaign promised to focus on the military. This was a safe choice. The military and the general staff are powerful element in the state. And this tells us a dangerous one. I know. My first one, they actually arrested me. Military can be close allies, and with the Wumberg threat on the horizon, we need them. I do not want to die in prison, just like Arthur Estwisi did. Yeah, that's, you know. Yeah, I'll put that one. None of us want to live through another scenario again. Defence Minister Isef Lancier is more loyal to us compared to General Kruger. The fact that obviously can be changed with our actions. Either way, I see potential rift between the two since they are clearly of different minds. Vex strongly against the military. Both of these guys will unite against us. I agree with Lisa, and we need to tread carefully here. Well, gentlemen, precisely 30 minutes. This concludes our political briefing for today. Our next meeting will be about our media strategy. Talk to you soon, sir, and I'll keep in touch. See you at both the next meeting. Lisa and Peter bid their farewells and left. Okay. Let's have a quick look at the country overview. So, backlog, Reform Committee, economy, military, outdated. Our military is rubbish. That's good, but that's not. Wumberg expansionism. They basically want to take over the continent. Let's have a look at political overview. Factions, old guard, oligarchs, reformists. Legislation, yeah. But of that, how many is old guard though? That's what you need to remember. Alright, let us have a look at this one. Let's have a quick look at the news. Committee for Reforms. Yep, we know about that. Support for campaign for finance bill. Right, this resulted in an increase of term to the governing. Right, so this is basically. Yeah, I've made a mistake. I've got made cock this up twice. I've made a mess of this. Basis by allocating public funds, the bills aim to change the criteria for proportion of votes won in general elections to proportion of seats by a political party. This resulted in an increase of 28 million for the USB. So basically, it's changing how the political parties are financed, of which we're the greatest winner of it. Which. Football season kicks off with Lackhaven versus Bentley. The league consists of nearly 10 teams, has been getting more and more popularity in recent decades, with tickets dropping significantly in prices, leading to increased accessibility. Football fans are looking forward to one of the key events of the league, the match between the two most competent teams, FC Enrica and FC Galsord. Wumberg coming south. Again, this is why important. Our political analysts are reviewing recent aggressive military diplomatic developments of Wumberg and have come to the conclusion that it is highly likely Wumberg will keep pushing further south, threatening territories of Sordland and possibly Magnolia. The annexation of Day many decades ago is just the beginning. Wumberg seems to be on a quest to secure all strategic resources in eastern Macopia. Basically, they're going to want to go to war with us. Okay, let's go back down here and have a look at what's going on here. Okay. Yeah, so basically saying people want reform. Nothing major that we don't really know already. Lucy and Peter arrived at my office to talk about the recent developments and the media strategy. They both took their seats. Across from me, Lucian put on his reading glasses and quickly went over some documents. Peter turned to Lucian and nodded. Let's begin. First of all, Lucian, you mentioned Marcel Conrati contacted you. Conrati is always known as one of the richest and most influential families in Sordland. Marcel Conrati was no exception. He is the oldest son of Conrad Conrati, the industrial media mogul who founded Haas, the richest man in the entirety of Sordland. Massive media corporation, basically. And lots of newspapers, could cause lots of problems. He's offered to meet with you, Mr. President. Why should I meet with him? After passing of his father, may he rest in peace, Marcel aims to become the new CEO of Haas Conglomerate. He mentioned a productive collaboration. They are a powerful and influential media conglomerate. To start with, they own the Sordland newspaper, the Swedish Broadband Corporation there, which means it will be wise to have them on our side. Sorry for interrupting. Yeah, what does that actually mean? He did not wish to explain the details over the phone, but rather in person. I believe I will be receiving a call from him soon. First, Peter said they have substantial power over the content of media outlets, headlines, radio shows. That is what he would be offering. What he wants to return, we need to understand. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, we need to determine our general approach to the media. I'm no media expert. Lucian made some very interesting arguments at the preparation meeting yesterday. There are two ways we can approach media. One of them is by influencing it, which has two advantages. The other is to keeping it independent. Yeah, it must be used as a tool. I agree. Media plays a huge role in adapting public opinion towards our views and our policies. Well, it helps us avoiding damages, scandals, or mistakes. While I do acknowledge that this will sound a bit harsh, I certainly believe that our perspective, knowledge, and experience allows us to have superior judgment compared to the average sort of citizen. You know, I share your opinion. Concur. Even if we don't use it, we should be able to have control over it. You're both aware of my certain expertise with public opinion swaying. I will make sure the media is on our side. 2 knocks heard at the door. Who is it? It's Olivia, Mr. President. My new secretary entered the office. The dark calls bounced as she crossed the room. She spoke with a slight lilt in her voice. Excuse me, Mr. President. Mr. Gallard's secretary has been calling. He wanted me to relay a message. Marcel Conrati is the new CEO of Haas, is on the line for Mr. Gallard. Well, the ball is in your court now. Would you like to talk to him, or would you like me to do that? You go ahead. Like we say, connecting line 1. Lydia left the room and the phone started to ring. Lucian picked up the phone and started listening. A few minutes passed as they talked over the phone. Good news indeed. Congratulations, Mr. Conrati. Thank you for contacting me. We'll talk about this later. I want to try and stay away from speaking to these people directly, because I've had my fingers burned doing that on the 2 previous ones. What to say important, he couldn't wait. He's just been elected CEO of the board of directors. He offered a partnership deal regarding his media branch. He's inviting us to his resort in the economy out for a meeting. The board has decided rather quickly. It seems that gave him the confidence to approach us again. He's going to also offer us a real deal, and now has the power of the conglomerate too. The choice is up to him, President. Can I set up the meeting soon? Yeah, what's Peter say? I have to say I'm torn. If he has become the CEO, then he has enormous influence now. On the other hand, do we want to privately meet with him, with someone we don't fully know? The meeting will help us figure him out. We could still say no for whatever he offers. I know I'm going to reject it. That is a clear no vote. Well, I hope we have made the right call. So do I. Well, that makes things clear. We should focus on other things anyway. It appears we're done for today. We'll continue where we left off later. Thank you for your time. I expect you to bring better half to the table. Yeah, go and get out. We were already getting the attention of key figures and potentially dangerous ones. But you were. Okay, well, we're looking for time. If I can stop my mouse going a bit crazy, I'll... what's going on with the mouse? Hang on. Sorry about that, my mouse got a bit bonkers then. Last column 1 has died. Okay, cool. We know about that. Radical. Glamorous inauguration ball. We demand this traditional waste of traditional waste of nature will become a thing of the past. Okay, yep. Geopolitics, Sordland's regional trade. What's our trade policy? To be strategic, geopolitical affairs of Sordland historically, Agnolia and Welland has been natural trading partners. Depending on the direction of the Rayne administration, it is likely a new trade deal will be brokered with at least one of these trade partners. Regional trade boosts the economy, but the real question is these two. Yeah, they're the economic powerhouses of the region. Is Lesbia, communist, Western. So they're the real powers when it comes to trade deals. Get one of that power in a lot better position. But we're going like they hate each other because they're at the extreme end of the political spectrum. Difficult decision. Won't go into that, I think. Alright, what now? Alright, let's go here. Alright. Don't pay finance bill. Yeah, tell us about that. I'm not bothered with me. Don't work that out. Sign it. Yep. Gives us more money. Hijacks elections. Yeah, well, I'll make sure I want to stay in power. Economic situation. Simeon Hall, Gus Mangler and Lillian Graff arrived to have a chat about the economy. Two assistants arrived carrying a heavy projector. They stood with it by the door waiting for the minister to arrive. From the hallway I heard Lillian's voice. She was using a patient mother tone she often took in heated arguments. Gus, do you really think that such economic advanced areas need more investment than Agland? Lillian's Monteiro Minister strode in. She was clad in shade of brown and beige and a spot of colour of a bright yellow Neurist star on a necklace. That's the religion. Don't be an idiot, Lily asked. What about the unemployment crisis in Greater Holswood and Galswood regions? They are going through these areas of our economic heartland. Gus curled his hands into fist. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development's temper hadn't changed since the days of Alphonse's administration. He had a reputation for getting things done. His far-reaching network connections was unlike any other. Samuel quickly stepped between the two ministers without looking at either of them, cleared his throat. Good morning, Mr. President. What's the debate about? Definitely discriminate over internal economic strategy, Mr. Rayne. Not sure if I call it discriminate, Lily asks. Let's begin the purpose. Let's ignore them. Oh, yes, I will move forward with my presentation if no one objects, please. Simon pulled a silk handkerchief out of his pocket and wiped his glasses. My staff and I have comprehensively analysed every aspect of... He was interrupted by a groan from one of the assistants by the door, both of whom were now visibly struggling to hold the heavy projector. Oh, you can put it there. Point below, President saw the assistants placed the projector next to the table and installed a white screen on the wall. Leave now. I mean, thank you. Please leave now. The assistant left. Excuse me. The assistants left the cabinet room. I was reminded that Simon had never quite had a way with people, but his facility with numbers had made him the most sought-after economic specialist in Sordland. Simon started looking for his slides. He carried the documentation around with him. Yawn. Yawn said to me, disapprovingly, Mr. President, I'm about to make some very serious data. Go ahead, stay silent. I said suddenly the mood in the room turned slightly sour. There have been some developments about the Sordland. This has been further validated today. We've been trying to stable at the central bank. The recession of 51 put enormous pressure on the economy, resulting in the collapse of the value of our economy. The entire situation was a significant cause of concern for our administration. Since economics is your forte, Mr. Rayne, it is possible that you may have already been aware of the data. I can still explain the current economic situation in better detail. What's the GDP and debt situation? Our current GDP is, yes, so basically, our gross domestic products is far lower than our debt. It's so hard to fathom that we lost 150 billion in wealth the past few years were tough. What's unemployment inflation like? Unemployment is skyrocketed, is now a staggering 16%. Inflation is high. Unemployment is increasing crime and drug use. We need to get the people off streets. Inflation is helping every citizen either. What's the status of the recession? The economy has been in recession about -6% in the past year. Average GDP has dropped from that to that. We need to stop the recession, basically. Let's get into strategy. Scout's papers in an orderly manner took a final look at his notes before clearing his throat. Asking his situation is alarming, but not everything is negative. The extensive privatisation programme of France has left us with a large budget surplus which we can use to stabilise the crisis. The primary subject we need to settle on is what general path we take this turn. This, in our terms, Solonomics based, but nationalisation happened in the 30s and Alphonse's privatisation began during the end of the 40s. What will I focus on now? When no promises to promote free market economy to stop the recession, to be frank, I believe is the only way to get out of the recession. Don't support it. Why promote the private sector when we have qualified state enterprises? Because they lack the competition that made them inefficient. Simon nodded. Yep. I'm not even going to bother on this debate. Agree. Look at how quickly it's been our case of increase their prosperity by embracing the basic principles. Yeah, I'm not even going to entertain a debate on anything other than the free market. With lacking industry, the structural problems of Solonomics were going to lead to a recession according to the predictions at the time. Anyway, either way, if we pick one of the doctrines we need to retain the option to make economic choices based on a case-by-case basis. That is, however, not recommended in my point of view. Finally, something we both agree on. There's an important point which has directed our economy, superpowers. We've done well not align ourselves with any of them. I know speaking of our nationalist policy overall could work well if we were to reap the benefits of both spheres, although rather this is very dangerous. An attempt but still possible. We must be very cautious. Our chances, there are schemes being devised about Sordland. We cannot give in to their wants now or in the future, otherwise our country will be turned into a pawn. I haven't decided if they wish to come to a deal, and I didn't mean to press that. A deal will surely come out more profit than while our people suffered. I didn't mean to press that. That was a bit of a misclick, that was. Oh well. We don't know that, we should wait and see. With the deals we could get align ourselves with a strong company like Ocasio, recession would come to an end in no time. He's got a point, cleared his throat. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Minister Wishy will be in charge of informing you on those types of foreign policy decisions. We must first decide our internal economic plan. Put for a legal document outlining the possibilities of both of the economic doctrines listed. Everybody looked at me. Now let's finish what Francis started. Yeah, I'm not even entertaining the problem. It's remained must note the reason for the century because it was perpetrated by his party. That's not true. There's plenty of time for him to do it. If you can't make the change in 2 years, then you are at fault. Picking construction companies, trade relations, tax reforms and privatisation initiatives will be some of them. Sticking to solid planned economic strategy will be the right call. The 5-year plans were fruitful in the past. It will make Ocasio look at our country in a more positive light. The proponents of the free market economy. First, our case as the world market is extensive. Our economic strategy should be based on internal reasoning now. Let's move on. Or to your final thoughts then, President. Critical institutions must remain state control. We must be fully responsible for delivering services. We should look at opportunities like privatisation to create financial resources. Our market economy doesn't require as much guidance and could help us attract investment. Especially while for Marquez it is already interested in expanding the economic innovator, we could see lucrative investments from capitalist countries. Promote free market. I don't care what I really don't care what you think. Yeah, I don't. There's reasons why I don't trust them anyway. Spoiler alert, I won't say anything. Now that the clarity on the direction we're heading, I will work on a good plan and feed it accordingly. This concludes our meeting. Our next gathering we will talk about upcoming infrastructure investment plan. Now the economic direction was taken, the minister's space for lunch. Okay. On that note, I think I'm going to call this a night. I think. Interesting first episode. A lot of it I'm not clicking through quickly, but like this is my third run, so a lot of it I've gone through already. So I'm trying to pick options that I know I've not gone with before, try and get a different result. But like I say, let me know what you think, because it's a great game. I absolutely love it. I've started watching. I try to avoid watching other YouTubes because you get spoilers from what decisions they take. But I've started watching a couple, and I started watching Party Elite, and I was like, I want to play this again because I absolutely love it. Anyway, let me know what you think. If you want me to take any particular route, let me know. And anyway, don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, helps turn out loads. And anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Alright, bye.